Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the latest studio album from Warbringer entitled Wrath and Ruin. But first, a very special announcement. The Metal Meltdown is going live and hosting a very special St. Patrick's Day party on Sunday, March 16th. We're gonna hang out, play games, talk shit, drink an ungodly amount of alcohol, plus maybe also other things. No spoilers, but I may or may not have a few unique tricks up my sleeve for the St. Patrick's Day party and exclusively for the St. Patrick's Day party. Just a thought. Do with that information whatever you wish. We go live at 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be streaming well through the afternoon and evening and into the night. So be there, be square, you got no excuse, just be there. Just be there. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, let's officially start talking about Wrath and Ruin, the 7th full-length studio album and the first in 5 years from this American thrash metal crew. They came up in the midst of that 2000s thrash metal revival scene and movement alongside bands such as Evil, Havoc, and Municipal Waste. I don't think I would say that Warbringer is my favorite of the bunch, but they are almost inarguably the most consistent and reliable of the bunch. Like, they've always been pretty active, steadily touring and making and releasing music. They've never broken up or gone on some kind of hiatus, unlike Municipal Waste or Evil. There's been no major dips in their discography either. They haven't really released any full-blown duds, anything I would consider mediocre or just okay, unlike, say, Havoc or also Evil. And on top of that, with every single album, Warbringer continue to get better. They continue to sharpen their tools and master their craft and trade. They get bigger, they get bolder, they get more epic, more poignant and intelligent without compromising the heaviness of the music. So much so that I am willing to argue, here and now today, that Wrath and Ruin is Warbringer's best album to date. And though it may be bereft of big surprises and unexpected twists and turns and curveballs and spices, I hesitate to say that this is a particularly meat and potatoes thrash metal record. Like, sure, Warbringer may be reading from some old recipes and using old ingredients, but they do a really good job across this album at making everything feel and sound fresh. For example, the album's opening number, The Sword and the Cross, does a great job at combining epic tones and classic and modern thrash metal pyrotechnics together into something triumphant and brutal as hell. In the very beginning, you have what sounds like somebody unsheathing a sword, transitioning into, like, the shredding wail of a guitar, which is just objectively metal as all holy hell. And this paves the way for a very cinematic and important sounding and feeling kind of epic doom intro that brings to mind, like, a Conan the Barbarian-esque warrior slowly climbing a mountain in aggravating and punishing form. Once he reaches the peak, he raises his sword to the sky, lightning strikes the tip, and suddenly we are given full-blown thrash metal mania. Warbringer both wisely and successfully also play around with slower tempos and grooves and trad metal influences here and there to create more momentum and atmosphere and variety. It kind of feels like if classic Megadeth and Rob Duke's era Exodus joined forces and got inspired after watching the aforementioned Conan the Barbarian. Then there's Through a Glass Darkly, which doubles down on the epic tones and sounds, while also channeling the endless struggle and turmoil and violence and agony of war. As frontman John Kevill writes, the song is about an eternally reincarnating warrior who recounts his struggles and pains across the battlefield of time. This is based on a poem by the World War II General George Patton, and apparently the man truly believed himself to be the reincarnation of this eternal warrior. Filled to the brim with melodrama, screaming vocals, muscular chugging, and a variety of towering sections filled with soaring, soulful, harmonizing guitars. It's bitter and stark and grueling, but exudes strength and confidence, like an old-timey war general looking on his past, drinking whiskey or red wine. Musically, it reminds me of, like, modern-day Creator, like some of the more mellow-deafy kind of stuff. I'm also reminded of a band like Canon and Fever in parts. And then there's A Better World, which does a great job at capturing the cynical, hopeless feeling that a lot of people have right now in this modern day political, social, cultural environment. Musically, it's one of the most cutthroat and brutal numbers on the album. Lyrically and conceptually, it talks about disassociating from society, distancing from other people, relying on alcohol and drugs and technology, and just losing hope in the world as like real, good, substantial change and progress feels more and more impossible to achieve. As the band writes, I watch decaying cities of the world upon the brink. I watch the earthly creatures one by one become extinct. As I run back and forth to keep a roof above my head, no hope for tomorrow, the future is dead. I keep myself distracted by staring at a screen, my mind always racing, no longer I dream, I swallow prescriptions cause the problem is me. My mood's far more stable, no longer do I dream of another world. Tracks like The Last of My Kind and Cage of Air also stick to modern events and circumstances and moods and environments, dealing with free will, rebellion, class warfare. Both are vicious, defiant, bloodthirsty, unrelenting. Gotta give props to Cage of Air too for throwing in some more Opethian vibes. There's a soft, expansive intro, and they do a good job blending in some more extreme, almost blackened influences with the potent, razor-sharp thrash. And I mean, Neuromancer, Strike from the Sky, The Jackhammer, all filled with addictive, energetic, super satisfying riffs. The album is incredibly well produced and put together. Even in its biggest moments, it never feels overwhelming or really bombastic. It never gets obnoxious. And though it's a fairly well-polished record, it never feels squeaky clean. Like you still feel the dirt and the grit, you know? Like it's still a heavy record. Honestly, I'm feeling a very enthusiastic 4 out of 5, leaning towards bordering on a 4.5 out of 5. I may upgrade the score as time goes on, as I listen to this album more and more. But for the moment, a very enthusiastic 4 just feels right. It feels more appropriate. It just kicks ass, man. It's epic and brutal and fun, and it's able to go into more dramatic and intelligent territory without being fucking pretentious. It's able to talk about more important things without being a fucking bummer. Anyone who loves Warbringer and thrash metal is definitely going to love this. If you were looking for a gateway into more modern thrash metal and into Warbringer, I would say check this out as well. I think I've said everything that I need and want to say. Bravo, Warbringer. You fucked it up real good. 4 out of 5. Very enthusiastic one. A great record. Maybe an incredible one. I don't know. I'm a simmer and marinate on this, and we'll see how we feel in a little bit of time. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I am not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.